Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone. We got the Guards off to a solid 2-1 start as of shooting this show. And we got the Cavs, 60 wins, guys. I actually have a cute little video for you right off the top here of Jarrett Allen in the presser yesterday. 60 wins, let them meow.
After the, please look at this. Stand up, please.
Bro, come on.
This really got the giggles from the media yesterday. Donovan Mitchell with the endorsement as well.
Helps that he came off a good game.
It's in my locker.
Yeah, I think he finished with like 25 points, 12 boards, 3 assists. So, I mean, Jarrett Allen playing like a star and just being the most likable star, I feel like, on the team. Or in NBA, he's just a unique guy. You know what I mean? There's not too many like Jarrett Allen.
Not too many cat dads in the league, yeah.
Yeah. What else are we looking forward to? We got the Cavs on this hot streak. I could tell you about a little story from the presser in addition to yesterday.
An interaction with Kenny Atkinson, right?
Yes. So this was kind of funny. I lost a microphone last game, and I keep it on the table during the press conference, and 30 seconds had elapsed. And I from when it ended and when I walked out the door, then came back and was like, where's the mic? Couldn't find it anywhere. Looked on the ground, looked everywhere. Yesterday, I just happened to get a live reaction from the culprit himself.
It's my family. What is this? Is this like a mic? I got one of your mics. Yeah.
There you go. See, there it was.
How much do these cost?
It's $600.
I'll get it.
If you get the other one,
I'll bring it back.
that's so funny.
Like, I don't know how I'm like on.
I was like looking on the ground.
No, I went home and I'm like taking stuff out of my pocket and it's like, what is this thing? It's like a tracking device, you know.
Not Kenny Atkinson thinking I told him I didn't need the interview that bad. It wasn't a tracking device. But it was kind of funny just because after all of that, I was asking everybody in the room, like, hey, have you seen this? And he walks in, he's like, hey, what's this? I have one of these. So lovable coach, lovable guy, and obviously just super excited to see his intensity and the rest of the team at this point in the season.
Yeah, we roll on toward the playoffs now.
Playoffs right around the corner, NFL draft right around the corner, and Guardians getting into full swing. So packed show for everybody today.
Yeah, we'll get into that pack show with our Cleveland headlines. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We've got your Cleveland headlines brought to you by Fairway Ford.
Fairway Ford offers complete customization for any vehicle on their lot with their Fairway Black Label line. The series featured custom upgrades like premium wheel and tire packages, a wide variety of level of lift kits, performance enhancements, and fully customized interior options. And every Fairway Black Label truck comes with a Rhino spray-in bed liner. Whether you're looking for an aggressive off-road stance, a bold street presence, or a one-of-a-kind build, Fairway Black Label delivers. As a bonus, many of these upgrades can be financed for as little as 0% APR, depending on the vehicle line. If you can dream it, we can build it. Visit fairwayfordohio.com to explore their current Black Label inventory or give them a call to start designing yours today.
All right, gang. Cavs, 60 wins. That's the third most in franchise history. Actually, the previous win total without LeBron was 57. So, I mean, this is amazing to see this team competing like this. What'd you think of their rebounding and coming out, taking the dub over the Clippers?
Well, it's kind of nice. The last couple of weeks, they stumbled a little bit, but you still look at it. We're at a cruising altitude right now. March, 11-5. We thought it was a rough month, and we were still 11-5. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. We're good on the injury front right now, which is what I'm looking for going forward. So, hey, let's just get us to the playoffs nice and healthy, and that way we can make some hay there down the road.
Absolutely. And you know, we're at the dog days of the NBA season. Like, I think the fans are starting to get a little bored. I think for a minute there, maybe the players got a little bit bored too during that West Coast swing. So nice to have the team back in town. And you look at the upcoming schedule, you got a couple good opponents coming up this week. Can we say, you know, Sacramento Kings, the Spurs without Victor Wembanyama, like there's still a couple more wins on the table as this team gets tuned up for the playoffs.
Okay, let's quickly head to Browns. How about the Browns meeting with top prospects, Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry, having meetings with Cam Ward and Abdul Carter this week? Do you have any concern about Jimmy Haslam being involved in these meetings?
I have concern about all the people involved in these meetings. Andrew Berry hasn't drafted very well. Kevin Stefanski, we haven't put it together. So I don't like the owner being as involved as he is, but I don't have confidence with just about anybody right now until they start proving it. And this draft is where that begins.
Yeah, and I'm not concerned about Jimmy really being in there because this just shows the gravity of how important the number 2 overall pick is for the Cleveland Browns. And I like that they're doing their homework on all of these guys. I like that they're getting a good look at Abdul Carter. I like that they're going to go to Colorado this week and meet with Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, Cam Ward, who a lot of people expect to be the number 1 overall pick. I like that you still go down there to Florida, meet with them, have a private workout with them, really get all the intel that you can right now because this is an important spot. Number 2 overall, this is the most important chip and the most prized piece that this franchise has. So you got to ace it.
All right, Kirk Cousins in Cleveland. Do you make anything of Kirk Cousins being in Westlake and Avon this week?
New Joe Flacco plane pick has now surfaced. That's Brown's Twitter, right? If any quarterback is going to be within 150 miles of Cleveland in the offseason, we're going to find him. And that's what happened here with Kirk Cousins. Stopped into a Chipotle, stopped into a city barbecue later on. Jeremy in Akron, I'm going to give you a shout out here from Twitter. He mentioned that the Browns team physician, Dr. James Voos, is less than a mile away, I guess, from that Chipotle. So maybe he was in town. Conspiracy theorist says maybe he was in town doing some preliminaries for a trade. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Kind of interesting. We're certainly in the middle of silly season.
Yeah, and it's reported that Kirk Cousins was here for not football reasons. Come on. I mean, he wasn't in town for the local garage sale there in Westlake. What else would Kirk Cousins be in town for? The Browns need a starting quarterback. Kirk Cousins is arguably one of the best vets available on the trade market. Something tells me that maybe the Browns were doing a little bit of medical homework on Kirk Cousins. Maybe Kirk Cousins, in turn, doing a little homework on the west side of Cleveland, all throughout Westlake and Avon. There's nice neighborhoods to live all throughout there. So I definitely think there's a little bit of flirting going on with the Browns and Kirk Cousins, but nothing can be formal. And Kirk Cousins has trouble moving in silence, as the kids like to say, because the Falcons just got fined $250,000 and had to forfeit a 5th-round pick for tampering just last offseason because of Kirk Cousins. So the Browns definitely have to be careful with this. That's why it's out there that he was here for non-football reasons. But just the conspiracy in me believes that there had to be something going on.
Yeah, this is such a funny time of year because there are so many conspiracies floating around on X, and everybody's blowing up and going to different. Even our own Bruce Drennan with the Dak Prescott. I don't think we talked about it on our show yet. But is there anything out there that you're really looking into and gone down the rabbit hole and think is valid?
I'm just waiting for us to hit the draft. I really want to see who our quarterback's going to be for next year. I am hoping it's not going to be Kenny Pickett. My God, if it's Kenny Pickett going into this season, they're talking about 4.5 wins right now for the Browns. I'd be amazed if we get that to that spot with Kenny Pickett.
Chris, the owners' meetings happening right now in real time. We know that's where a lot of business gets done around the league. All of the owners down there in Florida, general managers, head coaches down there as well. So we'll see what happens. The Browns saying down at those owner meetings that they love Kenny Pickett. Yeah. They're excited about what he can do. So right now, he is the only healthy quarterback on the roster.
And we're going to talk some baseball. We got Guardians season underway, the home opener right around the corner. We've got our Garage Beer featured interview right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We're getting excited for baseball, the home opener just a week away, and we're joined in studio by VP of Communications and Community Impact, friend of show Curtis Danburg, and friend of Ballpark as well. We're so excited. 2-1, great start here. It's nice to see Tanner Bybee rebound from his little bout of food poisoning, and just getting all of our fans back in the ballpark. What's going to be the most exciting thing for people to look forward to?
I mean, finally, after 2 years, we can now say the ballpark is, for the most part, is going to be done, and it's a completely new look. I mean, where you're going to see, whether you're in person or on TV, behind home plate, and we'll be a little bit delayed on the Carnegie Club opening, but everything else, the Terrace Hall, North Coast Social, the former Terrace Club. We had an event there for the staff on Friday, and it's unbelievable. And that, I'm telling you right now, if you have the ballpark pass, that is the spot to go. Is go straight to the Terrace Hall.
Where are we at with the ballpark pass? Is it sold out?
It's out. There's some remaining. We're getting close to probably that sellout number, but it's a great deal. So it's $54, includes the fees, but you get opening day, Yankees, Boston. I think we have 15 home games, I think, in April, so it's pretty good value to get things rolling.
Oh, Papa Cruz jumped on that right away.
Yeah.
He's on
Great
that.
value.
Also, any new food? I know people really look forward to this. Every year we've got something new cooking.
So what's new at the ballpark is Friday, so I can't unveil all the trade secrets
Okay,
yet.
that's fair.
We got to hold it.
We gotta tease it. You gotta be there. You gotta come to the ballpark.
Exactly.
That's the biggie.
But we'll rest assured we'll have a couple wrinkles and a couple new food items that'll be exciting, especially in the new spaces. There'll be some new items to take advantage of.
And then you guys always do such a fun job with the promos.
Oh, yeah.
This year especially though, like we have to give a shout out to the random reliever night.
How about that?
That is by far like my favorite promo that I think you guys have ever done. And I do rock my Hawaiian, one from the last couple of years.
City Connect
on
Hawaiian shirt
rotation.
this year.
And the City Connect Hawaiian is going to be fun. Which one are you most excited for? If you have,
I'm excited. Like you, I think it's very creative. One of the first teams to ever do this. The bullpen was such a backbone of our team, so to give them some notoriety. So you're going to come to the ballpark, and you're not going to know if you're going to get Cade Smith or Tim Herron or Hunter Gaddis. So something fun to kind of give a nod to those relievers.
Yeah, and all those guys did such great work for us. How do you guys pick like which players get bobbleheads and jerseys, or like even like for the bobbleheads, like do they get a say in like what pose they get, or is it a surprise? Like I've always been curious on how that works.
It's a huge shout out to Annie Mazzella in our marketing department. She's the backbone and creates everything. But we do have dialogue with our players and loop them in on what we're planning and
Cool.
doing. And if we have a bobblehead, obviously we show them the drafted artwork and allow them to sign off on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I feel like as someone that already has a big head naturally, like just kind of how God made me, like I would wonder what a Nick Padone bobblehead would look like.
We can make you one, Nick.
I guess
That can be arranged.
So taking us back to the opener, I, along with a lot of fans, had some problems with MLB TV. You guys addressed that. I got an email the very next day.
Yep.
It sounds like we're going to be able to get some tickets here coming up in March. You guys are going to be announcing some more details about that. What are you doing for those customers that weren't able to take in the first pitch of the season on MLB TV? Yeah,
it was obviously disappointing for our fans. We wanted you only get one time to make a good first impression, and unfortunately, their app is like top to notch, one of the best in class. Yeah. And they've never had a technical issue. And of course, this year, unfortunately, that happened. So we wanted to address that quickly with our fans. We sent an email out. Details will come out this week. So for paid CLE Guardians TV customers, they're going to get 4 tickets to one game in April and May, obviously excluding the sold out opening day. But as a way to say, hey, we recognize the negative that was to lead off the season with a new product. And but since that time, we've been working out the kinks, and the games over the weekend, obviously Saturday and Sunday, worked out well. So, again, we apologize on behalf of everybody involved of what occurred, but we wanted to at least make some amends.
By far coolest feature of the app, by the way. It works out the kink that I've been trying to work out myself for years of the Tom Hamilton direct to TV. I mean, you could watch the game on TV with Tom Hamilton instead of trying to do the thing that I've been trying to do for like years of trying to get the Bluetooth speaker lined up, then pause the TV, then unpause the TV. It's really hard to do. The app takes care of it.
Instant hammy.
It's a huge opportunity, and then those two that are, bilingual or want the Spanish feed at home games. So obviously we have Rafa and Carlos doing the games that will have that as an option too. So to sync that up for many fans, it's a huge benefit.
I didn't even realize that with the Spanish broadcast.
Yeah,
I may have to try that just for fun.
Yeah, for
Rafa to hear those two.
You have SAP too, but it gives you that option.
That's fantastic. So last year, you also had Superman was filmed in the stadium. Did you guys have any interaction with those folks as they were filming?
Not really. Our groundskeeper, Brandon Kinke, obviously was heavily involved because they did a lot of everything. But we had to be outside. I mean, we were pretty much out of the ballpark anyway because of construction. Yeah. But even us, I'd have access to the press box and would do some meetings from there. We were not allowed in. So it was,
wow.
They closed the doors on everybody. So excited to see how that will play out this summer. And, such a great spotlight for Cleveland to be in. And I'll tease some exciting things to come in conjunction with that.
Oh, that's really exciting.
I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
As you're wearing your Jose
Superman
shirt.
I'm a Superman right there. And the City Connect hat. You guys did fantastic with that last year. What was it like rolling that out and then having such a positive response? We're so used to, the negative, especially on social media, which I'm a part of sometimes.
Never.
About things
Never.
that don't come off as well as that one did. That one
did.
really connected well with the city. It connected well with people. It helped that we were winning in those jerseys. But talk about that a little bit. What is that like for you guys to see something that successful?
It was a huge win. And as you said, on the field, off the field, the players loved it from day one. So getting their buy-in certainly helped from a fan standpoint. But also you win in them. And I think that the one cool thing is obviously we recognize there's fans that are still tied to the Indians, and we support that and get that. CLE was about Cleveland. And, there wasn't any Guardians mentioned on there. It's about CLE, and it allowed maybe the people that aren't on board yet with Guardians to wear our product and kind of buy in that way. So that was a kind of, I don't know if we saw that and it was intentional, but it was a good outcome.
Are we going to see more branding that's going to be along the City Connect path?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be more. I think it'll be similar to last year, and obviously in conjunction with the days those Fridays when we do wear it. And obviously it's up to the starting pitcher to decide if we wear it more than that. But we have 2 more years of the City Connect. It's a 3-year program.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
We love that.
Yeah, I feel like if I was starting, I would just pick that every game.
I know, and I like the color schemes. I love it. It's
Yeah.
just a little bit different,
Yeah.
and I think that's fun for people. Curtis, the Guardians strive for excellence in all facets, especially on the field. Obviously, we're trying to win, but I can't help but notice, having gotten credentialed for other teams, we've covered other teams, the players are just good people also. How important is that to the vibe, not only in the locker room, but just generally speaking from an organizational standpoint?
Yeah, it's top down, but I mean, I think there is a reason for that. There is a recipe there. The people we bring into the organization, whether that's we're drafting, follow up through the minor leagues or free agent signings or trades. We knew what we were getting in Lane Thomas, and I think that's a credit to just the leadership on the baseball level. But it goes all the way up to Paul Dolan. I mean, from top to bottom, it's a family, and we believe in each other, and we need that. That's how we compete with the big dogs that obviously we can't be up there from a money standpoint, but we do it in that way. And it's throughout the entire organization, and it makes me personally proud to work for an organization like that. And we see it on the player side too.
So last year we lose Tito, right?
Yeah.
A manager who's just an absolute legend in this town, a legend in baseball, goes to Cincinnati ultimately. And we were sitting here last year going, who's this guy, Stephen Vogt? What's he going to do for us? What an amazing year he's had. What's it like to go from Tito to Stephen Vogt, young guy, hadn't managed before, and just to do a fantastic job with the team?
Yeah, I think it was blown away and certainly exceeded expectations. He wins Manager of the Year, but I think it goes back to those qualities we look in people. And we saw a lot of similarities. There's a lot of leadership values that Stephen has that Tito had. And we learned from Tito of what works, and that humility and that ability to connect with the players goes, it's the recipe that worked for Tito, and it's the recipe working for Stephen. And we're very happy to have Voter leading the controls, and it's certainly great to see us, win that series win in the first series and keep things rolling.
Do we know what the home run celebration is this year? It looks like a jumping jack without the jump.
Yeah, we never really got the true story even last year. They kind of keep that under lock and key, but we'll have to do some digging on that.
Okay.
Whatever works. If we're hitting homers.
I know. I'm all for it. Yeah.
Cleveland Guardians, Curtis Danburg, thanks so much for joining us in studio. We're excited for that home opener. Get to the ballpark, get those tickets, check out the baseball pass.
The ballpark pass.
Ballpark pass. Yeah, that's the one that my dad loves. Thanks so much for coming in, and we'll see you right after this break.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's Nick Padone for Northeast Factory Direct. Everybody knows that it's baseball season, but more importantly, it's patio season, and Northeast Factory Direct has everything you need to tune up your backyard into the ultimate hangout spot. We're talking about beautiful outdoor sectionals, dining sets, tables, sofas, swivel chairs, fire pits, you name it. Stylish, durable. Northeast Factory Direct works with the manufacturers, so you get incredible products at unbelievable prices. They're going to blow out the prices of the big box stores because there's no middleman, there's no markups. It's just some serious savings. You can shop online anytime by going to northeastfactorydirect.com, but you have to check them out in store. Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. Now that the weather's turned, go check out Northeast Factory Direct. When you do, make sure to ask for that extra special Big Play bonus. You're going to get an extra hookup when you mention the Big Play bonus at checkout. Go check them out, Northeast Factory Direct today, and get that patio ready to go for spring. We bring in Jensen Lewis on Bringin The Heat. Jensen, the guards took 2 of 3 in Kansas City. Great way to start the season. What were your biggest takeaways from the opening season, of the opening series of the year?
Yeah, honestly, Nick, a really good job by this club being able to weather the scare there to Jose Ramirez and the Kyle Manzardo show out in force early. And that is great news for the middle of this lineup, looking to replace Josh Naylor and also Stephen Vogt, looking at that different lineup construction that we talked about coming into this week. And also, I think Stephen Kwan, it really, when you think about leadoff hitters and where he is from an approach standpoint, I don't know if Kansas City wants to face him pretty much anytime, anywhere, because it feels like he just bludgeons their pitching staff no matter who they run out there. So great job. Couple of scares in the bullpen there, a couple of rocky outings here from Emmanuel Clase, but it feels like the big four are alive and well. Gaddis and Cade Smith, Tim Herron, and really a couple of great starting pitching performances, not only from Tanner Bybee, but Gavin Williams as well.
Yeah, Jensen, Tanner Bybee, okay, that whole little thing with the food poisoning comes out stronger than ever. 5 2/3 scoreless innings against the Royals yesterday, or as of shooting this Sunday, to help us get the 6-2 win. What did you think of him?
Obviously, the Chipotle was better before the Sunday start, so that is good. Again, all joking aside, you knew that Tanner had to be incredibly ill not to take the ball for his first ever opening day start. So good to see him back, and also good to see the edge from him. You know, you saw him get taken out, and you could tell that he really wanted to stay in that game. But I know Stephen Vogt probably erring on the side of caution here to make sure that not only Tanner gets out of there with a chance to get the win, but also to get him ready for the next start. And obviously he's such a huge and important piece of the rotation. I'll tell you what I do like is that we've got, you know, some young guys that have stepped up. We've got some back end bullpen arms that look to pick up right where they left off. So that's always something you look at here, not only just the first couple of series and this really long road trip to get the year started, but that'll be something guys will revisit towards the end of April, kind of take stock in where this pitching staff is as a whole.
How about Jensen, Emmanuel Clase? You know, he pitched better yesterday, obviously outside of hitting India in the head with the ball. But outside of that, he did look a lot better, all kidding aside. What do you make of what he's done in the playoffs, what you saw here early in the season, very early in the season, and what do you think is the prognosis going forward for Emmanuel Clase?
Yeah, Chris, you know, and watching his first outing was a little scary, right? It felt like it was deja vu from watching the playoffs and the wheels coming off the track there. But, you know, yesterday, as you said, or at least on Sunday, with that unfortunate incident with India, you hope that the rest of this road trip is more to a consistent Clase that we saw not just last year, but the last couple of years. So again, I try not to pass judgment on starters or relievers until we get to that first week of May. You just want to have enough of a sample size to be able to look at it. And so you hope that there's some more rocking chair innings there in the ninth innings here, not only for this road trip, but when they eventually come home.
Jensen, how much of that do you think is mechanical versus, I mean, you obviously pitched at a high level. A lot of this can be about confidence and just focus and a little bit between the ears.
Honestly, Gab, I think it is between the ears wholeheartedly. And the confidence is going to be something we have to watch here in the first couple of weeks, because what you'd really hoped in a perfect world is that opening day he gets out there and it's a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout or two. He's able to come back to secure a series victory also with maybe a smooth sailing inning there. So that would have been ideal. We're not there yet, but as I said, if you can kind of put together some quality appearances throughout the rest of this road trip. I think that allows him to take that proverbial sigh of relief and really be able to settle in.
Is this the real Kyle Manzardo, Jensen? This has been awesome.
It has, Nick, and what you love about it is that he just stepped in and looked the part. I think Arch had said it on the broadcast, like he looks like a middle of the order bat, and that's what you hoped for when you apparently had to give it to him, knowing that there wasn't a lot of other options to be able to put in the 3 or 4 spot. And that notwithstanding, you hope that that Jose is okay, and that was a real scary moment with the hand injury. So I hope for him that those two can work in tandem, because I actually do like now, and it's just a series in or so. But when you look at the dynamic of Kwan and Ramirez and Manzardo, I actually like a lot more now that you see it in a regular season setting, how the flow is, and more so the bat to ball. That's what you hope for guys in the middle, is put the ball in play when you have runners in scoring position, be able to drive, be able to slug. And so far, great early returns here from Kyle Manzardo.
Okay, so this upcoming series, we've got San Diego. They just came off a 4-game sweep of Atlanta. What do you see in this matchup, and what do you expect to see from the Guardians playing late on the West Coast there?
Yeah, sleepover series continues, guys. And we not only get that, but we also get it in the City of Angels coming up this weekend. So first thing that stands out about San Diego is the top of their offense. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. off to a blazing hot start. Their pitching staff, if you would have told me they would have held the Braves to 7 runs in 4 games, I would have said you're crazy. But that starting rotation, very, very solid. Back into their bullpen, a lot of swing and miss. And so yet again, another spacious ballpark, guys, at Petco there, where this Guardian club can take advantage of maybe the gaps, use some of their speed pressure, and defensively, they're going to be able to need to cut off the extra bases, because the way that San Diego has swung the bats thus far, they have been a force to be reckoned with.
And how about the Angels? Break that series down for us.
Yeah, what's unique, guys, because this is like years old, where I can remember our first road trip of the season beginning out in the West Coast at not only the perfect weather, but really the perfect storm. I mean, you guys look at the last 5 to 10 years, this has basically been a book it series, and they've been able to just take care of business. And so kind of anxious to see where the starting pitching probables end up in some of those matchups with the off day here on for a couple of these teams. But I think the lineup is the one thing to focus on for LA. Top of their lineup with Taylor Ward and the way Mike Trout and Jorge Soler will end up being in late game situations. Ron Washington still trying to figure out the back end of their bullpen, guys. And so with Kenley Jansen and Ben Joyce, you got two, at least in Joyce, a huge triple-digit flamethrower. Jansen, not the same swing and miss we've seen in years past of dominating with the Dodgers. But again, if the Guardians play the way they're capable of, they should be able to take that series, no problem.
Alrighty, it's time for the Northeast Factory direct question of the week. You knew it was going to come up, Jensen. How much are these Yankees' new torpedo bats actually making an impact on the Yankees' home run surge that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, and it's not, Nick, it's not just the Yankees. We've seen guys on other teams that have used them already in the regular season. I know there are more that were approached about them in spring training. Some have decided to go with them, some did not. But first and foremost, I mean, you look at some of the locations that these Brewers pitchers left pitches out over the plate. I mean, you're asking for trouble, a torpedo bat or not. But I think it remains to be seen as we get through April. Let's kind of see what the Yankee offense does away from Yankee Stadium, because it's a bandbox in of itself down the lines. And so verdict is still in the offing here about whether it's a good or a bad thing.
Awesome.
Oh, I was just going to wrap us up.
Go for it.
Jensen Lewis, thanks so much for bringing the heat on our weekly basis. We'll look forward to next week, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. Joining us now is our NASCAR Cup driver for the number 10 Colleague Racing Chevy, Mr. Ty Dillon. Now, we had Ty on the program last week. Ty drives for your Northeast Ohio's own Matt Colleague, who fields 3 teams in the Xfinity Series, 2 teams in the NASCAR Cup Series. And it's a fun day to be talking all things track with Ty Dillon, coming off that top 15 finish at Martinsville. Go ahead, Ty. You could brag a little bit about it on the program, as it was a really fun weekend for you personally and a really fun weekend for our friends at Colleague Racing.
For sure. I think first of all, I mean, top 15 right after coming on the show. Coincidence? I think not, right? I mean, come on. So let's keep this thing rolling. No, it was a really great day. I know we talked last week a little bit about how we felt like the process of our race was really good, but the result didn't really show for me in Miami. We had a little issue with the tire at the end. And this was just a product of the results showing kind of the process of what we've done the last 2 weeks. So I'm just excited for that. We're building some great momentum. And now it's just to kind of cement that. Like, we are a top 15 team, and that's what we need to expect each week and go from there. And then that'll lead into top 10s. And then once you get in the top 10 in our sport, you have a chance to win each week. So it's exciting times. It's been a great run here. And to do it kind of close to the house, it's only a 2-hour drive from my home. It was a nice little weekend.
I know you had mentioned as well after the race that you guys had a decent qualifying run, but it wasn't the exact results that you were looking for. And then to have that top 15 finish had to feel extra good. Explain to the people about how that qualifying run works. And then when things don't quite go your way, how do you rebound off that?
Yeah, I know it sounds weird to say, but our qualifying system's a little wonky in the sport. We go out in order based on a metric from your previous week's finish position along with your point standings. So previous week we didn't have a great result, so we had to go out earlier in the process. What that does is we run a 20-minute practice session. The track gets really hot, lays down a lot of that hot rubber on the track. Well, we sit there for 15 minutes. That rubber hardens up on the track. So the first 10 cars, they're really in a bad spot because they're picking up the rubber off the track, and it just puts marbles on your tires, and it feels like you're on ice. So to qualify 28th out of 38, going out 11th, being one of those early cars, was a solid performance. And we knew that the car was capable. We just had to, now we were kind of in a hole to start. We just had to work our way back out of it. So running good this weekend is going to put us in a good spot for qualifying in Darlington. And that's a weird way that our sport builds this momentum each week. So the better you run, the better pit road choice you get for your pit stall, and then your qualifying performance is way better as well.
Now, you're in the midst of your own sports season, but I know you're a big sports fan. How closely are you able to keep up with what's going on in the other sports? We got the Final Four getting ready to go this weekend. Duke University, I know, is from the area, but you're not a Duke fan. How closely are you able to follow other sports in the thick of a NASCAR season? And what were your thoughts on this college basketball tournament?
Absolutely. I am a sports fanatic. I can talk about other sports probably longer than I can talk about racing. I just know a lot about racing, and it is what I love to do. But I've been paying attention closely. It's been a really fun year. My bracket's been doing really well. I'm in a group of friends, and I was up to third up until that Michigan State. I had Michigan State beating, who was it there? Sorry, who ended up winning? Auburn. I thought Auburn wasn't going to be able to sustain such a run, but all 4 number 1 seeds make to the Final Four, which is kind of crazy. So Michigan State hurt my bracket a little bit. I'm still like top 5 in the group of friends that I'm doing it with, and doing pretty well in the overall. But what's crazy is my wife's bracket's actually beating mine, so she's crushing it, and she's not a big follower of sports. She just picked it off of who she thinks is a good college.
Dude, isn't that the craziest thing? Like when the girls get involved and they pick it off of colleges that they've heard of or the mascots, like the rest of the bracket, off rip, the rest of the bracket pool has no chance, stands no chance, because they are going to pick the madness off of the mascots and the logos.
Totally. What's funny is I started last year with my 2 kids, and I had them pick a bracket, and they know nothing about colleges other than the logos. So my daughter picked UConn last year because she loved the Husky. So she beat all of us last year. And then my son this year picked Michigan State because he loves cars. He loves monster trucks too. And there's a monster truck called Mohawk Warrior, which is his favorite. And he thought the logo looked like the Mohawk Warrior. So he did pretty well this year. But Dad did end up beating him this year, unlike last year.
That's funny. So you're from North Carolina. You're not a UNC fan, not a Duke fan, but a Wake Forest fan.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about how that came about in your Wake Forest College Basketball Alliance.
Yeah, so I grew up in Winston-Salem, which is right there where Wake Forest is. So my friends and I, that was where we went. We went to Wake Forest basketball games, watched Chris Paul play. I was in the building. I watched. We had some decent players at the time, but I remember watching Julius Peppers play for UNC when he played both ways. He played football and basketball. He was one of the biggest humans I've ever seen on a basketball court. But also sat on the hill at Wake Forest, watched so many football games as a kid. So that's always close to my heart. And then I became, in 2005, which is kind of coincidence because they won the national championship, a Texas Longhorns fan by way of meeting Earl Campbell when I was younger. And he asked me, "What's your favorite football team?" And I said, "Wake Forest." And he laughed at me. And he said, "You need to pick a real team." And that was the beginning of the season. And he's like, "Follow the Texas Longhorns." And that was the year they had the probably one of the greatest national championships in the history of college football with Vince Young at the Rose Bowl. I think it was against USC. And I remember watching that and I was hooked. And then we were terrible for a long time. And now we're kind of getting it back together.
That's incredible. It's always funny to hear like the stories of how you become a sports fan. It's different for each, person in each city. Rotating things back to NASCAR here. This weekend at Darlington is the annual throwback weekend. I understand that you're going to be running a throwback scheme in honor of Patty Moy. Tell the people a little bit about the theme that you're going to be running with, because we all love a good throwback.
Yeah, I think we're going to unveil it later this week, but it's a really cool throwback to Patty Moe. She was a pioneer in our sport as a woman and had some great runs. But the cool thing is it ties back to our sponsor, Seabest. It was one of the first sponsor commitments they made in the sport of NASCAR and auto racing was with her. She's from the Jacksonville area, which is where they are from. So it's kind of cool to tie it all together and bring everybody back to this moment where it's firsts in the sports for everybody. And you go into this Darlington Raceway weekend, and you feel like I drive from my house. It's another 2-hour drive, pretty much down to South Carolina. And I swear, the closer I get to the track, I feel like we dropped decades, and you feel like you're going back in time. You finally pull into this racetrack. It's one of the oldest racetracks in NASCAR, and you can feel the history in the place. And you walk in and everybody's got these cool throwback schemes and everything's just a little bit different for a weekend. So it's a fun weekend. Also, it doesn't hurt that it's one of my favorite racetracks. I've always felt really connected and have a good plan around this racetrack. So having a good run this weekend hopefully is going to lead into another solid weekend for us this upcoming Sunday.
Absolutely. And is momentum something that's a big deal in NASCAR? For the people that might not be familiar with you coming off of a top 15 finish at Martinsville this past weekend, getting ready to go into Darlington and a track that's real nearby with a little momentum on your back has to feel good just as a competitor, right?
It really does. Our sport, it really provides, and the way, like I talked about qualifying, they really lean into the momentum of the sport. It does help, and good finishes usually turn into good finishes. It's just a matter of executing those races. And if we can keep this momentum going, we're going to be talking about battling for wins, I think, coming soon. And just if we can minimize mistakes and finish these races strong, we're going to have a great upcoming year.
Huge thanks to Ty Dillon for joining us on the Big Play Cleveland Show. Make sure to go follow him on social media at Ty Dillon. Make sure to throw our friends over at Colleague Racing some love as well. Ty, I'm looking forward to seeing the car this week, and I'm looking forward to watching you race at Darlington.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on again. And hey, if we get another top 15, we're one away from a streak. Okay, so here we go.
Hey, and you know what they say? It's been done before, so we're pulling for that streak. Ty Dillon, thanks so much.
All right, thanks, man.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our Fill in the Blank segment brought to you by Pure AV. They specialize in sales, service, and installation of a variety of smart home technologies. They'll do it all. Okay, guys, they can help you with getting the perfect sports watching setup with their high-performance audio and video displays. They've even got hidden audio and video options that allow you to keep a clean, elegant interior without sacrificing your favorite technology. Pure AV can set you up with invisible architectural speakers that are hidden in your walls, ceilings, as well as disappearing TVs that vanish behind art of mirrors. You can learn more at pureavcore.com today to see everything they offer for your home. Cool stuff there, guys. If you don't go quarterback, the Browns should select blank.
I was on Abdul Carter back months ago. I'll stay on that train. I'd still love to see him on the same line with Myles Garrett, so I'll stick right there. Although I wouldn't be upset to see Hunter either. If we're not going to go quarterback, either of those guys I'd be pretty happy with, but I'm settling right now on Carter.
Yeah, and I think if they're not going to draft a quarterback at number 2 overall, I personally would prefer Travis Hunter over Abdul Carter. At this point in the draft process, I feel like Abdul Carter is a prospect that just has a lot of questions. There's some character stuff. There's 2 mysterious injuries. We never saw him at the combine. Then he didn't participate in his pro day. Look, I get and I've seen the Micah Parsons comps to Abdul Carter, and there's plenty of reasons to be excited about pairing that type of guy on the edge opposite Myles Garrett, but Abdul Carter, if his ceiling is Micah Parsons, we have a guy here in Cleveland that's better than Micah Parsons, and we've had that guy for the last 8 seasons, and we haven't won a whole lot, and that's Myles Garrett. And I think Travis Hunter is more of a position of need. At receiver, you get Travis Hunter and Jerry Jeudy. If they decide to pass on quarterback, whoever the quarterback will be, their life is going to be a whole lot easier with Jeudy, Travis Hunter, David Njoku, and hopefully they draft one of these Ohio State running backs there in the 2nd or 3rd rounds. So I'm personally going to go with Travis Hunter over Abdul Carter at this point.
Okay, the Browns have the lowest projected win total as of right now for the season. Vegas setting the Browns' 2025 win total at 4.5 games is
very positive. You're looking at a 50% increase over last year. We only had 3 wins last year, Nick. Now you're talking 4.5. What other team in the NFL is projected to be 50% better than we were the year before? How about that?
I mean, we're in contention with the New York Giants. You know, right when that Russell Wilson, trade or signing went down, they moved up to 5.5 wins. I still probably would bet the under on the New York Giants. But yeah, until the Browns, prove it on the field, long gone are the days of the offseason champs and having these big, glamorous double-digit win totals. Like, this is what the rest of America thinks the Cleveland Browns are, and that's about a 5-win football team.
Okay, the final 4, all 4 1 seeds. It's set. Blank is going to win the whole thing, you think?
I had Houston going in. I'm going to have Houston winning the whole thing, and the reason is defense. I like their defense. They're going to have a tough matchup here against Duke, obviously. Best offensive team, best defensive team. I look for Houston to win, though.
I'll stick with the Blue Devils just because, as they were my champion when I did my bracket or whatever. Similarly to Chris, all 4 teams being in the Final 4, number 1 seeds. Like, the amount of people that we've talked to, Chris, that have been like, I still have a perfect bracket. Like, okay, well, you didn't take any risk. This is what everybody thought was going to happen. I guess I'm guilty of that as well because I picked Duke as my national champion. Right now, I just don't know who can slow down Cooper Flagg. If it were to happen, though, Chris, it would be against Houston because that defense is for real.
Yeah. And, a lot of people have talked about this March Madness and what the effect of NIL has been. You've got a real small sample size, but it'll be interesting to see in future March Madness if we continue to see, as the talent goes to these bigger teams, whether these mid-majors and all these Cinderella stories continue to go away. For 1 year, boy, this was a pretty boring March Madness. I don't care the amount of John fans, and I love John, and John adds the passion and the emotion to this thing. But if it isn't for him really propping this thing up, I don't have a whole lot of emotion for this entire tournament.
No, and there were great games, sure. We've had buzzer beaters. There were even some comeback from behind victories, but those comeback from behind victories were from 1 seeds, So, there hasn't
Florida,
been
Texas Tech.
this Cinderella. We had Amir Khan for, a couple days, and that's really all this tournament gave us. So, Chris, I'm glad we agree on that it really does feel like a down year for March Madness. That's kind of strange.
We want to thank our partners, Pure AV, for our fill-in-the-blank segment. Real quick, let's go out on a little Cavs high note here. Evan Mobley getting hyped up in the locker room last night by all of his teammates advocating for Defensive Player of the Year. They wanted to hear him say it in the presser. How about Evan Mobley's blank is the part of his game that has impressed you the most this year?
Defense. I know he's progressed so much offensively, and you see him shooting threes, but I really love his defensive game. I think that's what's going to bode well for us in the playoffs.
And it's the ball handling for me. The fact that he could take guys off the dribble and create some of his own stuff, that's been completely unlocked by Kenny Atkinson. So great job out of the Cavs.
Thanks for watching Big Play Cleveland. We'll see you next week.